AFLW Season 10, Season 2025 kicks off this weekend. We're going to preview everything you need to know ahead of the season. We're going to look at all the players, all the teams, and maybe do some season predictions and see how we go at predicting what will happen this year in the AFLW. So stick around. This is the All Aussie Rules Football Podcast. Welcome on into the All Aussie Rules Football Podcast, and we've got a bonus episode for you this week, and we'll have another one next week. AFLW season is kicking off, and today's episode is going to be all about AFLW. What we do in the future with the podcast once AFL men's season wraps up the home and away season, we'll go back to 2 episodes a week, one on the men's, one on the women's game. But until that point, we're going to continue with the 2 for men and 1 bonus episode a week as the women's episode, and that's what this one is today. So don't forget to hit the follow or subscribe button depending on what platform you're on. And just an FYI, with no men's games until Friday this week, the next episode of the podcast will come out Friday morning instead of Thursday morning. So come back, check that out. Round 23 in the AFL men's season will be previewed on a Friday on the channel. Episode 58, that will be. Make sure you come back for that. A massive weekend of football in the men's game, but today is all about the women's game. The plan is we're going to go through every single club, do a season preview for each team. We'll then do our season predictions in the middle of the episode, and then we'll wrap up going through each of the 9 matches in round 1 coming your way, opening round of the AFLW season. Stick with us. I hope you enjoy. I don't know how long this episode is going to go for. There's quite a bit of content to get through, but I'll try and get through it as quick as I can without glossing over too much important stuff. Don't forget to hit up all the socials as well. All Aussie Rules everywhere. We bring out content every single day, pretty much somewhere, but usually everywhere. Instagram gets a lot. TikTok get a lot of posts. Twitter, Blue Sky, they get plenty as well. And this podcast goes live on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts every single week. There's 2 or 3 episodes. So sit back. Let's get into it. Let's see how we're going to fare with the teams. We're going to go through the teams alphabetically. I'll try and put in the bio down the bottom timestamps of where each team starts and finishes in case you want to skip to your team. Feel free to. Otherwise, sit back, enjoy, and listen to the whole thing because hopefully it won't go too long. There's 18 teams to get through, so let's start it off. Oops, if I click the right button. We've got Adelaide Crows alphabetically first up. Obviously, pretty successful over the last few years. Previous seasons, as you can see, 3 years in a row they've lost the prelim after being premiers in the season 6 of the AFLW. We're up to season 10 this year. Very, very talented list. There's no doubts about that. They haven't added a heap from last year, I don't think. But it's more so the fact that they just have absolute guns on their team. Ebony Marinoff obviously was league best and fairest last year. Rightly so. She had an outstanding season, did Noffy. And as you can see in the ratings down the bottom, top 5 players rated last season, a 128.08 for Ebony, which was the best in the competition, slightly ahead of the couple North Melbourne superstars. Had a fantastic season. Chelsea Randall was a 95.9, really solid year from Chelsea. That was 13th best in the competition. And Hatchard at 88.13 was 24th. Chelsea Beidel was 56th with a 74.96 as a defender. And forward Caitlin Gould was 63rd with a 73.31. Plenty of other talent across the list. Maddie Newman had an outstanding season. Was next best for them. Was actually the second best outside mid in the competition for the season. So a fantastic effort from Matty Newman as well. Plenty of talent on this list. We expect quite a bit from them. If you look at the ratings in the top right-hand corner of the graphic on the screen right now, that's just based on what I think their best 21 looks like. For those that don't know, 21 players get named each week in an AFLW side, and this is just basically their best team, how I rate each position, basically. Defence is probably Adelaide's weak point. Chelsea Bidle is really, really strong. Maybe lacks a bit of depth overall across the defence line. They've got a few good players. Zoe Prowse, Sarah Goodwin, also really good. Sarah Allen, solid. I just feel like there's not quite the depth that some of the other teams have, and that's their issue down back. It still has done pretty well for them over recent years. Midfield, they have the second best midfield in the competition. Marinoff, Randall, Hatchard, absolute guns, all three of them. Can rack up the disposals, tackle like crazy, and I expect to see another really solid year from that midfield trio, but also the other ones coming in, Matty Newman, Stevie Lee Thompson, you name them. Forward line, pretty solid, not outstanding, but pretty good. They get decent results, pretty solid across the lineup. And then their bench, pretty solid again, fourth best, which gives them an overall rating of third in the competition. My season prediction for the Crows is second. We're going to go through the full ladder after we've done all 18 teams, but I fully expect Adelaide to be right up the pointy end again, led by this midfield that is as good as almost any team in the competition. No surprise who will be number one, but a really solid outfit, this whole Adelaide Crow lineup. So I expect to see that again from them, basically. Moving on to the next team, Brisbane Lions, another team that's had a really successful run. I've been in the top four the last 4 seasons. Prelim final loss in season 6, followed by runners-up in season 7. They were premiers in 2023 and then runners-up again last year, losing the grand final to North Melbourne. They have a lot of depth across the field. Sorry, I just got distracted by something. I don't know what. Yeah, really good depth across the field. They have another good midfield, but they're not really weak in any positions. You look at the ratings there. Defence-wise, third best in the competition. Midfield, third best, so just behind the Crows in the midfield. Forward line, fourth best. Interchange third. Overall, second best in the competition. Slightly ahead of Adelaide. Last season's top 5 players in our All Aussie Rules rating system. Ali Anderson, 100.71, which had Ali ranked 7th in the competition. Isabel Dawes was a 96, which was 12th. Kathy Spark was also right up there, 35th best. Natalie Grider was 50th. Sophie Conway, 58. And it keeps going because they have plenty of other talent. Brianna Conan, 68. Jennifer Dunn, 88. Jade Ellinger, 101. Talia Hickey, 106. Orla O'Dwyer was 116. And it keeps going. They have a really good list. There's no doubt about it. They have a lot of talent all around the ground. Their best 3 players last year were all inside mids, but they have forward line, they have key position players, pretty much across the board, really quite strong. So it's hard to see a world where they're not competitive again this season. I've got them as my season prediction of third. They're almost certain, you'd think, if they stay fit and healthy, to finish top 4. They just have that good of a list across the board, and it's very hard to see too many teams knocking them off, because they do have a really good team, as shown by their results over recent years, and the team hasn't really changed all that much from where it was 12 months ago. So yeah, I expect a really solid season from Brisbane again this year. We'll move on to Carlton, and this is the first of the teams that maybe don't have as much expectations on them, let's be honest. But maybe it's a team that can improve in season 2025. Recent years, it's been rough. So they finished 8th in season 6. There was only 6 teams in finals that year, so they did not play finals. 14th in season 7, followed by 12th and 14th. Last year was a long season for them. They did not have a great time throughout most of the year. You look at their ratings, 16th in defense, 15th in midfield, 9th best in forward line, which is an interesting one, and 12th in interchange, which leaves them 14th best overall. Their best players last year, Keely Shearer was 28th best in the competition. Abby Mackay, new captain of the club, 38th. Madeline Gruen was 41. Mimi Hill, 48. Harriet Corder, 53. And then it's a big drop-off after that. Nobody until Jessica Good at 144th best last season. And that's probably their biggest issue. They have some pretty solid talent at the very top. Last season, there was a big gap between their top and their bottom. Obviously, finishing low, they got some good draft picks. So they're going to have some debutants already, have been named for round 1. They have Poppy Schulz and Sophie Mackay, both apparently playing this week, I think. They've got plenty of good young players that potentially could come through in this team, and I think we'll see quite a lot of development from them over the next 12 months. The issue is they probably just don't have that full list that an Adelaide, a Brisbane, a North Melbourne have. And to take that next step, that's what they kind of need. So looking at this list, I would say they're not quite there yet. I've got them at 15th this season. I can't see them really doing much better than maybe 10th. Maybe they will surprise us all and play some really good football. But going back to last year, they were just a team that won a couple games that nobody expected, but they also played some really ordinary football at times. So I would imagine that it will be probably a tough season for them. If they can stay fit and healthy, they can probably win 4, 5, maybe even 6 games for the season. But I can't see them being an outstanding team. It's basically the long and the short of it. They do have opening game against Collingwood, which is certainly a winnable game. They'll go into that favourites. We'll get into that shortly, but the season will only get harder after that. Speaking of Collingwood, we'll jump into their season. They've had a couple rough seasons. Last year's Wooden Spooners. Before that, they were 11th. The 2 years before that, they did play finals football, losing in a semi and an elimination final. But you look across their ratings there. Defence-wise, 15th. Midfield, 14th. Forward line, 15th. Interchange, 18th. Overall, 17th. Yeah, it's tough for them. They went out and recruited in the off-season some senior bodies, and that could have really added stuff to the team. Obviously, Matea Breed came in, but unfortunately for Breed, not playing this season, out all year after having surgery a few months back, and won't play a game. So that really hurts Collingwood straight up. They got a really good, talented young player in. In the future, Matteo will certainly add plenty to this team, but for this year, unfortunately for Collingwood, not going to be much help. They also got other players in. Ellie Runnels came from Fremantle. So they're adding some depth to their team, some talent in that middle range, but also, obviously, they had the first pick in the draft. So Ash Centra went to Collingwood. She's going to be debuting on Thursday night against Carlton. A lot expected from her. Hopefully, for Collingwood's sake, has a great season. That's basically how it is. Top 5 players for them last year. Bree Davey was number 1, was 26th best player in the competition. Missing some game football at the start of this season, I believe, will be Bree Davey, recovering also from an off-season injury. Britt Benici was second best for Collingwood last year, 45th. Ruby Slicer, who is the new captain for Collingwood, was 59th last year, running off as a general defender. Michaela Can was 81st. Matea Breed from Hawthorn was ranked 95th last year in the competition. in the All Aussie Rules rating system. Obviously not playing this year. Sabrina Frederick was 108, had a really solid season, especially early year last year. Sarah Rowe is missing the start of the year as an outside mid, hurt her shoulder in the preseason game. Then Tani White was 135. Jordan Allen, 146. Lucy Cronin in her first season was really, really good, was 160th. And was right up there in the Rising Star, I think, second or third in the Rising Star votes. Had a really good debut season as a key defender. And I think, hopefully, for their sake, with a good season, good development season last year, can take another step forward this year. Overall, just not the depth in the list. Hopefully, for their sake, they can get some players improve. And hopefully also they can avoid injuries, because injuries certainly hurt them last year. Bree Davey only played 5 games. Brittany Benici missed 2 games. Tani White missed 3 through suspension. So they did have key players last year missing multiple games, which is never easy to overcome when you potentially don't have the greatest depth in your list to start with. Moving on to Essendon, who did play finals last year and maybe can again this year. They, obviously, last 2 years have actually made finals and lost in the elimination finals. After their first season was season 7, they finished 10th on the ladder. So 3 pretty consistent years, all in that mid-table. They've started their franchise, I guess you'd say, pretty well. Their defense is really quite strong, second best in the competition, in fact, based on last year's numbers. 10th best midfield, 13th best forward line, 8th best interchange/depth, and 9th overall. So pretty solid numbers across the board. Their best players last year, they had quite a few that played really well. Got a lot of, I was going to say Brownlow, but best and fairest votes. They're 3 highest rated players according to the All Aussie Rules rating system. The top 2 were really good. Madison Gay as a general defender. I think she might have been the best general defender in the competition. Yes, was at a 94.19, 14th best in the competition overall. Georgia Nanscarwin was 15th best, 93.16. And then Madison Prespakis was 54th. Stephanie Wales, the ruckman, was 60th. And then Georgia Clark, 93rd as a key defender. Stephanie Kane, 96 as the 3rd inside mid. Just really, really solid lineup across the ground, I think. Without having the absolute superstar that maybe certainly Adelaide have, North Melbourne have a couple. Really good multiple players in multiple positions. So it just kind of helps have that full ground thing. Their issue is probably their forward line so far from what we've seen. Obviously, last year, Bonnie Toogood missed quite a lot of football, got injured early season, did come back, didn't perform outstanding once Bonnie came back, but maybe with a clean run can add a little bit more this year than we got from Bonnie last year. One of the more talented players on the list. That's probably where Essendon probably need the most improvement, is in that forward line. I think their midfield is certainly strong enough. Certainly their inside mids are. Maybe lack a little bit outside mids, potentially. But I think we'll see a really solid season from these Bombers. Still, obviously, a young franchise. They've got some really good senior talent, some good young talent coming through as well. Like Amy Gaylor was 110th best player in the competition last year, 19-year-old. So they've got plenty of other young players on the list as well that we expect will probably get some game time this year. So look for this Bombers outfit to really have a solid season, I think. I've got them predicted to finish 6th on the ladder. I think we'll get another good year from the Bombers here. Moving on to the next team. Over in the West, it's Fremantle Dockers, who had a really good year last year. There's no doubt about that. They did really well. So they lost in the semi. They won the elimination final against The Bombers, before losing in the semi. The 2 years before that, finished 13th and 12th. 2022, they lost the prelim. Think back to 2020, they probably could have won a premiership if COVID didn't happen. They went undefeated through the home and away season that year. They were going to have a really good chance at going all the way. They, unfortunately for them, that wasn't to be. So anyway, moving on, their ratings across the ground: 10th defence, 6th midfield, number 1 forward line. That's a good one for them. We'll get through some reasons why in a minute. Interchange / depth is 7th, overall 5th. Their best players last year: number 1 ruckman in the competition, Mim Strom, was absolutely outstanding last year and still has plenty of football ahead of her in her career to continue dominating in that ruck position. 4th best player in the competition, 106.99. Aisling McCarthy was Freo's 2nd best at 98.5 and 10th overall in the league. And Teague only played the 4 games but had a rating of 90.52. So if they can get more football from her, we'll see another great season and potentially a huge improvement from this Fremantle lineup. Emma O'Driscoll, 31st best in the league as a general defender, and then Gabrielle Newton were inside mid, 40th best. Another outstanding season from them. Gabby O'Sullivan, 74th best. Ashley Brazil, Laura Pugh, Hayley Miller, Dana West. The list goes on. They have plenty of talent. Also, Bella R. Smith has joined this team from Sydney. Kicked 5 goals in her last game at Sydney. So, joining forces with Teague up forward, I think we'll potentially see a really good forward line from this Fremantle team this year. And they're my sneaky little picks for an improvement. I know they lost the semi last year, so they weren't that far off. But I think it was clear last year that there was 3 teams that were really good. Then there was Hawthorn, and then there was kind of the rest of the 8. Whereas this year, I think Fremantle will be pushing towards those top 3. That North Melbourne, Adelaide, Brisbane. They were clearly the best 3 teams in the competition last year. I know that's not how the ladder finished, but that's definitely how it was. I think Hawthorn just had a luckier run than some of the others, and that's why they finished above Adelaide and maybe Brisbane. But Fremantle, I think, with this list, can take that next step and get close to those other teams. You've also got to remember that Stannett didn't play last year. Kiara Bowers also didn't play last year. So they're 2 senior, really good players that have a lot of experience between them. 57 games experience for Stannett and 49 for Bowers. To come back into this list, chuck in the fact that Teague only played 4 games last year, I think we could see this Fremantle team really jumping into some much better football this year. A team that played finals last year. So look for Freo to be a good team this year. That's my big prediction, in all honesty. Moving on to the next team, it's Geelong Cats. Not their best season last year after a couple years in the finals, losing elimination finals season 7. Lost the prelim in 2023. Missed finals last year after a slow start. A little bit unlucky, I think, due to the fact that they had a pretty tough run schedule-wise early season last year. And they were always kind of chasing the 8 ball a bit. They almost got their way back into finals contention, but just had too much ground to make up last year. Melbourne was a very similar story. And that's basically the long and the short of it. Defence-wise, solid enough, 9th best. Midfield, 11th. I think they're capable of being better than 11th, this midfield. They've got some really good talent that should be reaching their peak age in terms of best football. Forward line 2nd, interchange / depth 16th is their big issue. Overall 10th best. I've got them 10th again, but this is a team that, with the right run, with some good fitness and no injury concerns, is a team that certainly could be playing finals this year. You look at their midfield, I was saying that they should all be peaking. Their best 3 inside mids last year Nina Morrison, 24, Amy McDonald, 26, and Georgie Prospakis is 21. So 3 best inside mids, all at that perfect age to really be starting to peak. Nina Morrison was 17th best in the competition last year. Look for another really good year from them. Amy McDonald was 44th best. Michaela Bowen as a general forward, 57th. All their best players last year, all under the age of 25. Their top 6 players, top 5, best players in the ratings last year, all under 25 years of age, other than Amy McDonald, who's 26. But, yeah, they've got really good young players coming through. Aisling Maloney, key forward, kicked a lot of goals, had one big day out late in the season. I can't remember how many they kicked, but 5 or 6, I think. 4, 5, 6, I don't know. Anyway, a really good year from them last year, so look for another big year from there. Was the second best key forward last year, and combining with Jacqueline Parry, who was the third best key forward in the rating system last year. So they have a lot of talent. It's probably that depth that we're wondering how that will go across the year. Will that be beneficial for them or not? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. They've obviously a team that has a lot of good young talent though, so I wouldn't be surprised if they did play finals. It's just very hard at the moment to see which teams are going to drop out because there is a lot of talent in the list, in the league, and it will be interesting to see how it plays out. But Geelong is certainly a team that missed finals last year that I could definitely see playing finals in 2025. Moving on to the Gold Coast Suns, a team that probably hasn't had the most amount of success, it's safe to say. 10th in Season 6, 9th in Season 7, lost an elimination final 2023, and then dropped right back down to 17th last year. It was a long, hard season for them. It never really got going. Their defence was pretty solid at 6th best, midfield 13, forward line 17, interchange and depth 14th, overall 15th. Their inside mid game is outstanding, but they just maybe lack the depth after that in the midfield, which lowers their ranking there. Their top 3 are really good. Charlie Rowbottom was 5th best in the competition last year, 104.01. Tackling machine, clearance machine, gets plenty of the football. Claudia Whitford is a great little, probably not the right word, great support act, which is also pretty harsh as a support act because it was number 11. But the duo there in the midfield's really good. Lucy Single, 34th best in the competition. And then their backline's pretty solid from there because Daisy Darcy, Niam McLaughlin, and Mira Gervin, all really highly rated. Chucking Kate Lynch, who's more of the key defender. They've got that really solid defence line as well. Their forward line isn't bad. Pretty much everyone that's a senior player on this list did play last year. They've got a lot of young players that have been drafted over the last 2 years that we haven't seen yet. I think they've already announced Havana Harris is debuting this week. So that will be interesting to see how she goes. There's a lot of really, really good talent though, especially this midfield. Do they have enough talent to take that step up from finishing 17th last year and maybe winning 5-6 games and pushing more towards the top 8? If they can stay fit and healthy, maybe. We didn't see a great amount of football from them. A lot of great football from them last year, in all honesty. Their best was okay, but we saw a lot of their bad. I've got them as my prediction for 16th. I don't think they're a team. I'd be surprised to see them playing finals. I'd be surprised to see them moving up above 10th, really. I'm not saying that they're a bad team. They've certainly got some good players on this list. I'm a massive Charlie Rowbottom fan. But it's really lacking the all-round depth, I think, is their issue. Their defence line has some good players. Their midfield has some really good players. They've got to work on that forward line and maybe their overall depth, though, I think. Moving into GWS, Giants. And how will they go this year? Their last 4 seasons, they've finished 9th, 11th, and then the last 2 years, 16th and 16th. But this is a team that maybe rates as one that could potentially start moving up the ladder. Ratings, defense, really solid 4th. Midfield is probably their main issue, 12th. Forward line 6th, interchange depth 17th is their second issue, and overall 8th. Their top 5 players last year, Rebecca Beeson, inside mid, really, really solid year, 21st best in the competition. Alice Parker went past 50 games at the start of the year last year, really good season. Was 29th inside mid. Zali Goldsworthy, general forward, was 36th best in the competition. Cambridge McCormick, key defender, 43rd best. Pepper Randall, 80th best. Alish O'Dowd was 82nd as a first-year ruckman, had an absolute outstanding season. Potentially could be moving up towards maybe the top few, 2 or 3 ruckmen in the competition this year with any development. Isabel Huntington, 91st best. And I'm going to absolutely butcher her name. But Caitlin, I can't even think of how to pronounce it. I've practiced it so many times today. Can't pronounce your name. I'm sorry. I will get it. I practiced it today and I still mucked it up. Second year player, was outstanding last year. We'll talk about her more after too, because she might be my pick for the rising star this year. They've got good talent. They've got a lot of young players. This is a team that certainly will, over the next few years, I think, really start to take off, because they have a lot of young players that will start to perform really well over the next year or two, I think. So I've got them 13th this year. Wouldn't be surprised to see them pushing towards between that 9th and 12th spot this year. But in future years, this is definitely a team. If they can keep this young core that they're starting to build, I think we'll see a lot of really, really good football from this team. Yeah, that pretty much wraps up GWS. But watch out for them. I think a really good young team, this one. Moving on to Hawthorn, a team that played finals last year. They finished top 4 in the home and away season before going out in straight sets, losing to Port Adelaide in a semi after being up by about 5 goals at one point from memory. They're a team that has only been in the league for 3 seasons. Their first 2 years weren't great, finishing 15th and 14th, but last year obviously came from the clouds and played really good football throughout, jumped up the ladder, really solid finish from them. They'll be hoping for more, there's no doubt about it. Their pre-season has looked pretty good so far, so I wouldn't be surprised to see another really good year from them. I think it's consistency across the ground for this team is their big asset. 5th best defence, 4th best midfield, 5th best forward line, 9th as the depth, and 4th overall in the ratings. Emily Bates was number 1 highest rated player last year as a midfielder, 8th best in the competition, 98.94. Lucy Wales was the 2nd best ruckman in the competition according to the ratings last year, 90.14. Eliza West and Jasmine Fleming as the next 2 inside mids, really outstanding years from them. So I would imagine, based on age profile of their top 5 players, we'll see some development from all of them. Emily Bates is 29, but the rest of them are 21, 27, 20, 23. So right at that peak age where they should be developing and getting towards their peak. Tilly Lucas-Rod as a general defender with Jenna Richardson, both 5th and 6th best Hawthorn players last season. But they've still got another 3 players that were in the top 100 ranked players. Greta Bodie as a general forward, Aileen Gilroy as a general forward, and Tamara Smith as a general defender, all inside the top 100 players ranked last season. So they have a lot of depth, especially across defence especially, but also the forward line a bit. They're a team that didn't cop too many injuries last year. They had a lot of consistency through all of their key players, but they just made use of it and they played some really good football. I think this year looks like it's going to be a tougher schedule for them based on what they versed last year compared to this year. But I would be very surprised to see them drop more than a couple spots on the ladder. They'll certainly be a team that wins a lot of football. They'll be playing finals almost certainly, you'd have to think, based on what we saw last year and what we've seen through the preseason. So I'm expecting a big season from them. It's just a really tight up the top. Those top three teams, I can't see either of them really dropping out. And obviously I'm very big on Fremantle this year, so that's the only reason they're not in the top four. Moving on to the Demons, a team that missed the finals last year, a pretty successful team across the history of AFLW so far. And last year was one of their down years. There's no two ways about that. Obviously, finishing 9th last year after a slow start to the season. They played some good football at times. They just let themselves down with a few results throughout the year. The year before, they lost the semi. Season 7, they were premiers. Season 6, they were runners-up. So they've had a lot of success. You look across the ground, their defence is number 1, midfield number 5, forward line 16th. So that was their big issue based on players last year. We'll get into that in a minute. Interchange/depth is second best, which is really, really good. Overall 6th. As a team that missed finals last year, this is certainly a team that could jump back into finals contention. I've got them finishing 8th on the ladder. If we look through the list of players and their ratings last year, Eliza McNamara was their number 1 player, outside mid most of the time, 9th best in the competition. Kate Hoare, 16th, was, clearly always a very good player, has been for many years now. Goldrick, 51st best. Talia Gillard, 73rd. Tyler Hanks, 78th. Maeve Chaplin, 94th. That's everyone in the top 100 for the Demons. On ratings last season, Taylor Harris is someone that could add that forward line strength. I don't know what exactly is going on over there with that, but if she can get out there, that will be a huge add for them. And the other big in this year, there's a lot of hype about Molly O'Hare. First round draft pick last year, expected to be a really good player. 180 centimetres tall, so quite tall for an AFLW player, and a bit of a utility, a bit of an everything sort of player. So I'm excited to see what we get from Molly in this season. They're a team that definitely is good enough to play some really good football this year and potentially play finals. They have a good, solid list. There's no doubt about it. I think they would have played finals last year if they had just played a couple games early season a little bit better than they did. I think that's what cost them. But they finished 9th. I think they slightly improve on that this year in an even world. Next, we move on to last year's premiers. They were the North Melbourne Kangaroos. After runners-up the year before, lost a prelim the year before that, and lost an elimination final the year before that. They're a very consistent team, and they were by far the best team last year. They didn't lose a game. They won them all except for one, which they drew early season. But they were just dominant across the board all year long. Their defence is pretty good. Their midfield is absolutely dominant. Their forward line's really good. Their interchange/depth is really good. They just are a very good football team. Overall, their rating is first. No surprise there. They have the second and third highest rated players in the competition last year. Jasmine Garner was number 2 and Ash Riddell was number 3. Fantastic seasons from them both. No doubt about it. Then you go into Mia King, who was 30th. Emma Kearney, as a general defender, was 32nd. Elise Sharon has joined the team from Richmond, which is an interesting add to this midfield to make it even stronger than it already was. It'll be interesting to see how where she fits into this lineup. But 33rd best as a Richmond player last year. Sarah Wright, 84th. Alice O'Loughlin, 89th, had a really good end to the season through the finals campaign. Emma King, 102 as their ruckman. And then, I mean, they've still got plenty of other good talent that all certainly would be playing at a high level for any team in the competition. Ruby Tripodi, Libby Birch, Vicky Wall had a really good, outstanding final series as well. Vicky Wall, Bella Eadie, Talia Randall, Amy Smith, Kate Sherlaw, Kim Rennie, Tess Craven, Taylor Gatt, all finished in the top 200 players last year in ranking system. They don't have a huge amount of young people that haven't played coming through because they just have been quite high on the list. They do have an aging list, there's no doubt about it. Like Emma Kearney's 35 now, Jasmine Garner's 30, Ash Riddell's 28, Ellis Sharon, who's joined the team's 32, Sarah Wright 30, Emma King 30. So they are starting to get towards the last few years of a few of these players' careers, but there's definitely no reason why that they can't go back to back. If they play as good football as they did last year, they're going to be very, very hard to beat. I'd be very surprised to see too many teams fully challenge Kangaroos this year. If they play as good as they did last year, they stay fit and healthy, they're going to be very, very hard to beat. Next up, we head to another team that played really good football last year. They obviously made the prelim final. Just their third year in existence. Season 7 was their first. They finished 17th. 2023, they finished 15th. And then last year, after finishing just outside the top 4 through the regular season, they managed to beat Hawthorn in that semi-final before getting smacked by North Melbourne in the prelim. Is that how it went? I can't even remember. But they lost the prelim to whoever they played. Quite comfortably from memory. And yeah, that was their season. They're a team that their list doesn't rate that highly on the numbers. 18th best defence, 16th best midfield, 11th forward line. 5th for depth, though. They do have some good depth. 13th overall. I'm pretty high on the Port Adelaide Football Club in the women's competition as well. There's quite a lot of good players, good young players that I'm quite impressed by and excited to see how they go this year. Their highest rated players last year, Abby Dowrick was, number one, quite comfortably their number one player, 22nd best in the competition. As a 22-year-old, I think we'll see another step forward from her over the next couple of years. Matilda Schulz, in just her second year, was absolutely outstanding as a ruckman, 5th best ruckman in the competition. Has those highlight plays, the big marks, just always in the game, especially late season, really started to take off as that player that if she was around the ball, you knew something exciting was going to happen. So I'm excited to see how she goes this year. One of the taller ruckmen in the competition at 189 centimetres. Maria Maloney had a really good year, 66th best in the competition. So last year they didn't have the huge high, like multiple players, like only 3 total were in the top 100. But this next little range did really good as well. Shania Goody in her first year last year was really good. Ella Heads, Ashley Saint, Christy Lamb. Piper Window is someone that I think most people expect to really start to develop this year. Was really good last year as first year player, 177th best player in the comp. I think most people would probably expect Piper to go into the top 100 this season. Tegan Gurmish, Ebony O'D was solid. Gemma Houghton, I think, was quiet at times, but when at her best is very good as a key forward. Sashi Sim, Ella Bogue. Molly Brooksby is the person that I have an eye on as one of the best kicks in the competition. She has a very, very good kick on her, so keep an eye on that. Other than that, they've got some good young players. They've got some good list strength. I don't know if they can replicate last year. I think they just need a couple more development years, maybe, through some of these young players, because they do have a lot of the good players are very, very young, like Abby Dowrick, Matilda Schultz, and Shania Goody, Ella Heads. 4 of their top 5 are 22 and younger. Very, very young, and they've got some good young players throughout their whole list. So I think they're a team that certainly, if they can keep this team together and add a few more pieces here and there, they're a team that could really develop into a very, very good team in the future. I don't know if this is the year. We'll see. They certainly do have at least the runs on the board from last year that they were really good, but I'm a little bit worried that that might have been a big jump and they can't replicate that again. But if Schultz and Dowrick and Window all take that next step, maybe, just maybe, they will be capable of going deep into September again. I've got them 7th. I think that's a pretty fair spot for them. Moving on to the Tigers, a team that perhaps has a lot of talent on their list, but just don't quite have it going at the moment. Their last 4 seasons, 11th, lost in a semi, 10th, and then last year lost in the elimination final. And as we said before, they have lost Ellis Sharon, which is a big loss for them, I think. Their defense struggles a little bit, 13th best. Midfield 8th, forward line 12th, interchange/depth is 15th, overall 12th. This is a team I can see dropping out of the 8 that finished in the 8 last year. I do like this Richmond team. Obviously, they have one of the best players in the competition, Monconti, previous best and fairest winner, was 6th highest rated player last year, absolute gun footballer. So, I mean, well, she's on the field, they're always a chance to win the game of football. Poppy Kelly was their 2nd best as their ruckman, 2nd highest rated player. Ellie McKenzie was next, Gabrielle Seymour, and Beth Lynch in the back line. And then Kate Dempsey on the outside mid. Maybe moves more into an inside mid game, potentially. We'll see. Obviously, Ellis Sharon out of the team. Rebecca Miller, another defender. Katie Brennan as their best key forward. Probably their best forward, full stop. To be honest, they do lack great talent in that forward line based on last year's numbers. Grace Egan will probably be looking to improve her game a bit. She was rated 154th last year. So they do have talent. They have quite a few injuries on their list last year. I think we'll see. I don't know what we'll see from Richmond, to be honest. I've got them finishing 11th. I'd be surprised if they play finals just because I just feel like they haven't added anything really. And I feel like they've lost quite a bit with Ellie Sharon. If they can stay fit and healthy, they're a team capable of playing finals. I worry there's a lot of teams getting better. I don't see where Richmond have got better, basically, is the long and the short of that. Moving on to St Kilda, we're trying to get through these teams so we can do our season predictions and our preview of round 1 games. St Kilda is a team that's always around that mid-pack, aren't they? 13th, 13th, 9th, 11th. They had a really good start to their year last year, winning their first few games and then pretty much didn't win another game throughout the rest of the season. It fell off pretty quickly. Defense-wise, 12th, midfield 7th, forward line 10th, interchange/depth 13th. Overall, they were 11th. Looking at their best players last year, Jamie Lambert, inside mid, was 23rd best in the comp. Tiana Smith, young inside mid, 37th best. Potential to continue growing there. Serene Wilson, where have I got that from? Serene Watson, general defender, 55th best in the competition. Jessie Wardlaw, young key forward, 85th best in the competition. 4th best key forward. So there's a bit of a shining light there, I think, in the forward line. So watch Jessie Wardlaw, potentially could kick a bag or two this year. Paige Trudgeon, 99th, just cracks the top 100. Plenty of young talent on this list, plenty of potential to take that next step, I think. I just haven't seen enough from enough players here to suggest that they genuinely are a top 8 team. I've got them finishing 12th. We'll see how they go. Obviously, last year they started really well and just completely fell off after that. I don't know. I kind of feel it was similar to their men's program, to be honest. They're a team that has plenty of talent, but they just don't quite have it. So we'll see how they go, but yeah, we'll see. Is basically the long and the short of it. Moving on to Sydney, a team that missed finals last year. They finished 15th on the ladder after losing in a semi-final the year before and a wooden spoon in their opening season. They had a lot of injuries last year. There's no doubt about it. Like, there's plenty of excuses on this list as to why they struggled last year. Chloe Molloy played one game. Ali Moffat played 3. Kiara Hillier played 3. Lulu Puller, just the 1. And then of the players that were ranked last year, Paris McCarthy played 5. And then Montana Ham, Darcy Maloney, 8 each. Alexa Hamilton, 9. So they did miss plenty of football from plenty of key players. But injuries are a part of football, and sometimes that's how it is. They are a team that I can see jumping into the 8. You look at their ratings across the board: defence 11th, midfield 9th, forward line 7th, interchange/depth 6th, overall 7th. It's a big year for them. There's a lot of talk that they could be a team that jumps up the ladder. I wouldn't be surprised to see them push towards the top 8 at all. Obviously, Chloe Molloy getting a full season would be huge for them. Only played opening round last year against Collingwood, kicked 2 goals, played really well, and then I think did her ACL at training that week and didn't play again. I believe it's been announced that she's playing this week, so that will be huge for Chloe and for this Sydney Swans team. Other than that, Ali Moffat coming into the team would be huge in the ruck. Last year's ratings had Sophia Hurley as the 20th best player, Laura Gardner 25th best, Brianna Tarrant as a key defender was 39th, Tanya Kennedy 70th. So they certainly have talent at the top of this list. Get a few injury-plagued players back. There's a lot of hype around Sibby Fish, who was their number 1 pick last year in the draft. Add all of these little puzzle pieces in. They're certainly a team that shapes on paper as a team that could really jump the ladder this season. I've got them 9th. I wouldn't be surprised to see them play finals, in all honesty. If they can stay fit and healthy, I think they certainly have the talent on their list to do so. That staying fit and healthy is probably the key thing for them. And trying to get maybe some of these young players that were really good last year to take that next step. Like Sophia Hurley is 20, Laura Gardner 22, Brianna Tarrant, I can't believe I got that name wrong twice the exact same way, 23. So all really young. There's a lot of hype around Zippy Fish as well, 18 obviously as a first year player. Kiara Hillier is only 20 as well. So I think this is a team that's really young, and we're going to see a lot of development over the next couple of years. A lot of bright sparks in this team, and whether they jump straight into the finals this year or not, I don't know. But if they can stay fit and healthy, I wouldn't be that surprised. West Coast Eagles is next, a team that hasn't had a great run of results, let's be fair. 14th, 16th, 17th and 13th. They showed a lot last year, though, especially early season. They got a couple wins. They beat Richmond, I think, in first round in a really big upset win. A couple other wins scattered throughout the season. I think they were pretty good. They have some of the best young talent in the competition over in the West in this team. So they're a team that I think will progress a little bit. I know I've got them there as a season prediction 14th. They finished 13th last year. Anything above 14th or better, I think, is a successful year for them. If they can get towards the top 8, that would be huge for them. They certainly have the top-end talent to do so, I think. You look at their ratings: 8th best defence, 18 mid, 18 forward, 11 interchange/depth, and 18th overall. So they lack overall numbers, but their top end talent's really good. So Ella Roberts, absolute gun inside mid, 18th best in the competition last year. Polled really well in the BNF as well. So I'm expecting another big season from Ella. Alison Drennan, the more senior inside mid in the team. Charlotte Thomas, as that general defender last year, was really good, 52nd best. Beth Schilling in the backline, 90th. Zoe Wafka, 131. And then Emma Swanson, 145. Isabella Lewis was 155th as the inside mid. So they just need one of their couple ruckmen on their list, whether that is Sarah Lackey or Lauren Wafka, to jump up a bit, maybe play some better football. They're both very young, so we'll see how they develop this year. And their midfield to develop. Like Ella Roberts and Alison Drennan absolutely were great last year in that inside mid. That third inside mid role was Isabella Lewis mainly last year. That's probably where they want their next one to come from. They got Dana Hooker on the list, who's played 58 games. Probably see her this year, didn't play last year. Annabelle Johnson's similar, played 16 games, didn't play a game last year. So they certainly have talent. I think they just lack that depth. They've got a lot of young players that haven't played football before that we'll probably see throughout this season. And yeah, that's pretty much West Coast Eagles. I think they're going in the right direction, is basically how I see the Eagles. The Bulldogs are next, another team that struggled a bit last year. They ended up winning quite a few games, but early season they were getting flogged. And it's pretty much how they went through most of the season. They either got flogged or they would win the game of football. There wasn't much competitive losing from them. They're a team that finished 12th last year, 18th the year before, lost an elimination final the year before that, and 7th before that. Across the board, their team doesn't rate great. 17th defence, 17th mid, 14th forward line, 10th interchange / depth, and 16th overall. They copped injuries last year. There's no doubt about that. Like Ellie Blackburn is probably, arguably their best player. Played 3 games last year. Was their highest rated player as well at 99.01. Didn't get an actual rank in the competition as didn't play enough football, but like that sort of player missing so much football is obviously not ideal. Their next best players were Isabel Pritchard, inside mid, 42nd best, and Elizabeth Georgiou-Garthis was 98th best, and then you got Jessica Fitzgerald, 115. Alice Edmonds in the ruck was 125. Lauren Ahearns missed a few games of football as a key defender, was 133rd. Maggie Gorham, 167. Louise Stevenson was their best forward line player at 199. They have a lot of young players. Another team that just has a lot of young players. I think I need to see some more development from them. I wouldn't be surprised to see them have another tough year, though. I know they did win some games last year, but I just feel like this is not their year. I don't know why. Maybe they'll surprise me. Maybe they'll surprise a lot of people. But I don't have high hopes for them. I do hope Ellie Blackburn gets a full season, doesn't get injured, and maybe that will help the Bulldogs. I know, yeah. It was just those bad games last year that stick in my mind where they got absolutely thrashed. That just maybe dampens my thoughts about the Western Bulldogs heading into season 2025. So that's all the teams. We're going to now go through our season predictions. Before we do that, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all of those things. 3 podcast episodes a week. Hit up the socials, all Aussie rules everywhere. Here are my season predictions. So my final ladder is North Melbourne, Adelaide, Brisbane in 3rd, Fremantle finishing top 4. Then the rest of the top 8 is Hawthorn, Essendon, Port Adelaide and Melbourne. Just missing finals is Sydney, Geelong, Richmond, St Kilda. And then 13th Giants, 14th the Eagles, 15 for Carlton, 16 for the Suns, 17th for the Bulldogs, and 18th spot for Collingwood for back-to-back wooden spoons. Therefore, my prediction for the premiership is North Melbourne, runners-up Adelaide Crows. League best and fairest, I can't go past Ebony Marinoff. If Noffy does what Noffy did last year, she'll go back-to-back. Outstanding season last year. I find it hard to pick one of the North girls as they take votes from each other. That's obviously Garner and Riddell. They both get tons of football, tons of clearances, tons of everything. But they'll take votes off each other, as will other players. Second pick for the league best and fairest, Ella Roberts. Ella Roberts. I don't know where I got Emma from. She's an actress. Ignore that. Ella Roberts. Yeah. Polled really well last year. I expect another year of growth from her and better football. Abby Dowrick is the young gun. Polled really well as well last year. And I've got her for third. Second and third, more speculative picks. I don't know if they will be second and third, but I wouldn't be that surprised to see any of them right up there. Rising star is Caitlin Shrahart. I still can't say her name. I'm sorry. I did practice it before the recording. Yeah, I've got her. She played 8 games last year and was the highest rated player that's currently eligible for Rising Star. Other names worth thinking about: Zibby Fish, certainly up there. Ash Centra from Collingwood. I wouldn't be that surprised to see Molly O'Hare play really good this year and get some votes. Leading goal kicker, I've gone for a little bit of an outsider here. Gemma Houghton, I don't know. I didn't even look at the odds, to be honest. But key forward at a team that potentially might kick quite a few goals this year. Wouldn't be that surprised to see her have a really outstanding season. That's everything from our season preview. We'll now jump into round 1 matches and just do a quick rundown of the games. Starting off with Collingwood and Carlton at Icon Park. Thursday night football. 2 games on Thursday night. This is the first of them. Back-to-back games. 7:15 kickoff. Obviously, these are the 2 teams that started it all 10 years ago. This should be a good game. Both teams obviously finished pretty low on the ladder last year. Collingwood hoping to not get back-to-back wooden spoons. Carlton looking to push up the ladder a little bit. Both teams blooding some new faces as well, some young debutantes, high draft picks. So I think it will be an entertaining game. I think there's going to be plenty of talent on show. Certainly young talent, at least. We'll do our tips at the end. But Carlton definitely will be favourites for that one. The other Thursday night game, I think the ground has actually changed since I made this graphic. It's no longer at Sullivan Logistics Stadium. It's now at Mineral Resources Park. So just an FYI there. But it's West Coast versus the Gold Coast. The 2 coast teams couldn't be further apart, really. But they'll be going up against each other Thursday night at 9:15 Australian Eastern Standard Time. Another big game. 2 teams that, once again, didn't play finals last year. West Coast started their season at home last year against Richmond with a win, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them start this season with a win as well against Gold Coast. Nothing against the Suns, but we haven't seen enough from them to suggest that an away win round 1 is the way that they're going to start, but they do have some really good talent, so I think that game probably is a bit of a toss-up between the 2 teams. We jump into Friday night. This is a 6:15 kickoff to get it done basically before the men's games jump off. Not quite, won't quite be finished before the first men's game, but should be done before the second one. It's Sydney-Richmond at North Sydney Oval. Last year, Sydney started the season with a win over Collingwood at North Sydney Oval, whereas Richmond went over West and lost to West Coast on that same night. So I think this will be a good game. Both teams looking to maybe... Sydney definitely looking to improve on last year if they can stay fit and healthy, whereas Richmond trying to reset themselves, I guess, and have another crack at it. We'll see how that plays out, but it should be a really close game, I think, that one. Next up, we jump into Saturday football. We've got 3 games on Saturday, starting Saturday afternoon. Geelong, North Melbourne, GMHBA Stadium down at the Cattery. Big game. North, obviously, heavy favourites, reigning premiers, haven't lost a game in a long time, since the grand final of 2023 was their last loss. Geelong, tough season last year. They're looking to bounce back. They get a really tough game to start it, to try and turn that around. They'll get other chances throughout the year, but at home, if they were to upset the Kangaroos, I would not be surprised at all, in all honesty. Kangaroos were most vulnerable early season last year, I think, and maybe that'll be the case again here, but it will be a really tough game for the Cats. The Saturday evening game is the Giants v the Bombers at Manuka Oval. Giants coming off a tough year last year. Bombers obviously just scraped into the finals, lost in week 1 of the finals to Fremantle. This is a team that, a game that both teams probably hope that they can play finals. Giants will be wanting to start their season better than they did last year. They weren't terrible early season, but they were a long way off the best teams. The Bombers started a little bit slow, but really got going in the second half of the year last year. If they can stay fit and healthy, start their season a bit better with a win against the Giants here, look for them to have a really good year this year, and maybe this will start them off on the right foot. The Saturday night game is at Whitten Oval. Bulldogs Melbourne, big game for the Demons. Try and right their wrongs of their early season last year. Bulldogs, I don't know what to say about them. I'm really undecided where we sit with the Bulldogs, to be honest. I don't think they can beat the Demons in this one, but if they bring their absolute best, maybe they can. But I would say Demons probably are the better team in that game. Then we move into the big game of Sunday afternoon. The first one is a cracker. It's Brisbane Hawthorn. This is up at Brighton Homes Arena in Brisbane. 2 teams that finished in the top 4 of the home and away season last year, going head to head. 12 months ago, Brisbane started with a loss. I think it was round 1 that they lost to Kangaroos by quite a hefty margin. So they'll be looking to start this season a lot better than that one. Meanwhile, Hawthorn, their season last year was absolutely outstanding. They played some very exciting football, some of the most exciting football of any team in the competition. And then they let themselves down in that final quarter against Port Adelaide in the semi-final, because they could have gone into a prelim and probably should have. So they'll be looking to start this season off positively. It's not an easy matchup opening round, though. Go up against Brisbane at Brisbane. It's not going to be easy. I wouldn't be surprised to see this finish up within a kick either way. The next game is also Sunday afternoon. Kicks off an hour and a half after the first one. St Kilda Adelaide at RSEA Park in Melbourne. Saints, obviously a team that started last year pretty well, but then fell right away. Adelaide, a team that all season long looked like they were going to be one of the top 3 or 4 fancies for the premiership. They made it to the prelim final before falling over. They've arguably one of the best midfields in the competition. It's going to be hard for St Kilda to match it with the Crows, in all honesty. St Kilda would have to make a massive improvement from last season to be competitive in this one, I think, if Adelaide are anywhere near their best. Final game of the round is Port Adelaide Fremantle. We saw this matchup in the AFL last week. Now we get it in the AFLW. It's Sunday afternoon at Alberton Oval in Adelaide. Big game for both teams. Both teams played finals last year. Port Adelaide making it to the prelim. Fremantle falling over in the semi-final. Big game for both teams. Whoever wins this gets their season cracking. You'd have to think home ground, Port Adelaide, probably going to be favourites in this one. Don't be surprised, though, to see Fremantle do it okay. As I said earlier when we previewed Fremantle, they are one of my fancies for this year. I do have some high hopes that they'll have a really solid season. So yeah, that's how I feel about this matchup. We'll check out my tips now. That's all we've got left to do. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the All Aussie Rules Football Podcast or YouTube channel, wherever you are. Multiple podcast episodes every week. We're going to be doing plenty of AFLW, plenty of AFL men's content still to come. So yeah, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you follow us on all our socials as well. Our round 1 tips, we're going Carlton over Collingwood by 7 points. We're going Eagles by 15 on the Suns. That'll be an interesting one. Swans by 5 points over the Tigers in a tight one. Kangaroos 21 points over the Cats. Don't be surprised to see the Cats do a little bit of a surprise there, though. Bombers by 11 over the Giants. Demons by 26 over the Doggies. Lions 14 points over the Hawks. Crows 35 points over St Kilda. And to round out the round, Port Adelaide by 4 points over the Dockers. Hopefully there's 9 of 9 for you. I hope you've enjoyed. Jump in the comments below. Let me know who you think's going to win all the awards. Let me know premiers, runners-up, all that sort of stuff. Wooden spoon. Let me know all your tips and thoughts about Season 10, Season 2025 of the AFLW season. We'll be back with episode 58 of the podcast in 2 days' time. We'll be doing our round 23 men's preview. Then episode 59 will be Monday. That will be our review of the men's round 23. And then this time next week, we'll be back for the next episode of the AFLW. We'll be reviewing all of the round 1 matchups as well as previewing all the round 2 matchups. So make sure you come back for that. I hope you've enjoyed. And I guess I'll catch you on the next one.